Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Mankamal Singh and this is my story about the Sikh Genocide of '84. I'm 40 years old. I was about 10 years old when I first started seeing Sanjay Nail Singh on TV. As a young child, there wasn't much on TV to do with Sikhs. We didn't have YouTube channels, we didn't have the Sikh channel, we didn't have access to the Sikhi Roop really on the screen. So as a child, I remember clearly a family huddled together, mesmerized by what we saw on TV, mesmerized by the images of the Singhs and the Sant walking through the Bar Sahib. And I remember demonized stories, and I do remember the way the media portrayed the Sant. And I remember as a child looking at the Sant and thinking, this is an amazing good Sikh here, you know, the way he walked, the way he carried himself. Surely what the media is saying can't be right. And I think that set a lot in my mind, and that set me really to start thinking about what 1984 was really about. Many years passed by. I suppose I forgot what 1984 was really about. And I came into my early 30s about 10 years ago and started a reconnection with Sikhi. And my reconnection again came through the 20th anniversary of 1984 in 2004, when I stood outside the Indian Embassy and saw firsthand the pain that people had for what took place in 1984. And again, it got me going, it got me thinking, it got me researching, it got me re-listening to the Santji's speeches and really understanding what that era, what that time was really about. And really understanding that all the Sikhs did was carried on with the ethos of Guru Nanak, where they stood up for what they believed in, and they took it to the end. And there was no need for the Indian Army to come in with tanks. There was no need for the kind of level of atrocity that took place during June 1984. It didn't need to exist. So I've carried out a lot of sort of deep thinking and looked into a lot of what did take place at the time. And I do remember, one thing I remember very clearly was a big change in how people perceived Sikhs to be during that time, especially in the UK. And I remember a teacher, a Hindu teacher who was in my school, who always looked up to Asian pupils and always encouraged us to do well. And for some reason, after the events of 1984, he turned around and almost looked at us in a different light, and I started realizing that there is a demonization. There are people who look at us in a different way, but if anything, it made me look at myself, it made me question myself, and it made me look deeper and deeper into the meaning and the ethos behind the values that the Gurus left behind for us. So for me, my story of 1984 was a reconnection into Sikhi. My story is that the events of 1984 got me looking into what Sikh ethos really is and really embedding it into my life. I don't have any other stories. I wasn't in Punjab at the time. I was many miles away here in the UK, but it affected me. Until this day it affects me as well. Every time I look at the events, every time I read about the events, my hair stands on end. I get very emotional, and it's very deep.
Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru.